we're just gonna dive in and just see
Yeah,
where it takes us.
love it.
Um, okay. Oh, Rayna, welcome. I'm so grateful to have you on. This is really a true honor for me. And let's just start out our conversation today, which is really going to be around full feminine expression. And I want to just explore all of the different facets of that. But let's just start out by having you share just a little intro about yourself. I know many people know you, but just take, as much or as little time as you want to just share yourself
Yeah,
with people.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I was looking forward to this conversation all day. Yeah, I right now, because my work has kind of changed and evolved over the last few years, but right now, I just say my lane is really guiding women back into their bodies, and getting them on mission. And when I say on mission, I mean, every single woman I believe who is awake and conscious in this transition that we're moving through, she has gifts, wisdom, medicine to put out into this world. And so I'm literally, my life's path right now is to, again, bring them back into their bodies, right? Build that capacity, unleash their voice, um, build a business around it, and serve the collective with whatever it is that they have to put out there.
I love it. It's so profound. And so I'll share also in the intro beforehand that I'm currently working with Raina. And so we're like living this work and exploring it together right now, currently. And I also later want you to share about the next round of that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Super exciting. But yeah, I can feel your passion and I can feel your heart. And I just know that you're so here for this. And it's already been so impactful for me. So I'm so grateful just to have you as a mentor to help just like unlock certain things that you've been able to
yeah,
see within me that maybe have needed some unlocking.
yeah,
And so I'm just curious to know. Of course, we don't have to go into this if it's like a lot for you, but I really am curious to know just a little bit about your personal story, why, like your why behind this.
yeah,
Yeah, if you're willing.
yeah, of course. Um, I think my why behind this, there's a few reasons. The main reason, though, is, and I always say this, this path, this lifetime that I chose to walk, I literally chose, I swear to God, to live like 1,000 lifetimes in this one lifetime. And it's being a little over dramatic, but from literally the day I was born, I have walked a path of just a lot. Initiation after initiation after initiation. Um, and not only that, this path that I was walking, I came, the way my internal world kind of rearranged prior to my mid 40s. I was very insecure. I carried a lot of shame. I had a very small voice. And I always want to tell people too, like in my early 20s, I was so outside of my body. I was so insecure that before I would go out anywhere, I would literally shake as I would be doing my hair and I can still remember it to this day. And so the path that I walked up until probably my early 40s was really tumultuous. I've hit rock bottom probably two or three times, financial rock bottom, relational rock bottom. I've hit a rock bottom that was actually kind of below what was a rock bottom. I didn't even realize, there was that level. And so honestly, I know what it's like to be in this world and be so disconnected from who you are, from your voice, from your emotions, carry, the shame and the unworthiness, struggle financially, not have security, not have safety. And it just, I know the path that I walked brought me to where I am today. I know I chose it in this lifetime. That is how I see things. And now I look outside, right? I look into our external world. I see, and I'm just so fucking passionate about women not having to go through more than they need to go through. And you know what? You actually mentioned something, I think it was on one of your reels last week, and where you said we don't have to have that tower moment anymore. We really don't. Um, and so it just kind of brought me to where I am today. And it was really only about, I've been in this transformational space now for about 7 years, but it was only about the last 18 to 24 months where I really kind of locked in, like it just hit me. I just locked into this lane and this mission that I'm on, and I've been going ever since.
Oh, I so feel it. I'm so grateful that I've been connected to your work for a while, been following you on
Yeah.
Instagram for a while, but like it was just such the perfect time to step in and work deeper with you. And okay, so I just am loving this. And also I didn't know any really of your personal story. And
Yeah.
as it goes, we're attracted to the people that we have resonance with. And so, yeah, I mean, this path of initiation from day one, time and time and time and time again, is
Yeah.
so much a part of my story as well. So I love that. And
Yeah.
I also didn't realize that you had that, the insecurity and the fear before you stepped out the door. I mean, I had such severe social anxiety, I couldn't leave the house sometimes,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
we have a lot in common. And
Hmm.
so yeah, the throat chakra, the expression, it's all here. And it's just so it's really mind-blowing to see you embodied the way that you are now with your voice, because yeah, clearly it's a direct outcome of all of the work that you've done. And so as it goes for many of us, we teach what we have lived. And
Hmm.
yeah, this is you doing your soul work. And oh my gosh, you shared so much in there. I mean, what do you want to share maybe about why is nervous system and somatic work so important on this path?
And that's the other thing too. I kind of I dove into the personal development world in my early 20s. Um, and I turned 30 and then I turned 35 and then I was crowding for and nothing was really changing. Like nothing was really changing. Um, and it wasn't until I just somehow stumbled upon the world of embodiment. And I began, looking into that, and all of a sudden things just kind of began to make sense for me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute here. And of course, going through what I went through, of course, I'm going to be completely disconnected from my body, from myself, from my emotions. That's what happens. But then, actually, the reason I'm so passionate about nervous system work and the body was because of a breakup that I had almost 3 years ago. Literally rocked my world. Um, and I I had to put my nervous system back together again, piece by piece. And it was actually at that time where, how when all of a sudden these incredible awarenesses come about and you kind of look around and you begin to realize things, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." And so I spent about 18 months putting myself back together, putting my nervous system back together, really becoming so clear about my patterns and my internal world. And it was actually after that experience, I was like, oh my God, the power of our central nervous system is, I almost can't even put it into words. And her and I, when I say her and I, me and my body, her and I, what we move through, Leigh-Anne, together, just her and I, in a room for 18 months. I hold so much reverence and honor for her now. because I experienced the alchemical power, like, and stayed with it from morning to night for 18 months. I experienced the alchemical power that our bodies have. And I still to this day am in just complete awe of what we did together. And that really factored into my passion about the nervous system and our bodies.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, in my own way, I've been through a massive dark night, right, with relationships. And that was a long, long time ago when I had my major one. And I didn't explicitly work. I'm sure it was implicit in my healing, the nervous
Hmm.
system work and the somatic work, but I didn't explicitly work with it. But
Hmm.
like what maybe for people who are hearing you who are going through a breakup, like what are some simple things that they could do that you did? I know this is a big one, but just like a couple simple things.
You know, honestly, the best advice I can give is you just have to stay with it. You have to stay. Don't close down. You have to stay, or you're going to want to, you have a choice, right? You're going to want to stay with whatever is wanting to come through you. Because I remember there were days where I literally wanted to escape my body. It was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. And I was like, no, I'm in this. I am in this. And if there's one thing that I can offer, is that when you give yourself permission, when you really, oh, you allow that alchemical you allow her to do her thing or him to do his thing, there is such an incredible, beautiful fucking light on the other side.
Yep, totally.
Even, even when you think you can't live another day, because that was a part of it too. You know, there were days where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. This is too painful. It's too much. I'm checking out. Right?
Yep. I've had those days too. It's just like, wow, that's when you know, right? That's when you know. Okay, so I mean this is beautiful because just that piece alone will take you so far. Because yes, I think that we're starting to become aware with some of the collective conversations around all of this of all of the myriad of ways that we can distract ourselves. And it's like, okay, we're waking up to it. Even if you aren't like at rock bottom, there's so many distractions right now trying to prevent
Mm-hmm.
us from going
Oh,
in. Yeah, I mean it's part of the overall agendas, but I mean I love this, right? And so, if people need support, if they don't know, they can reach out to you. There's lots
yeah.
of different resources also online, but whether you're going through a breakup or just really like literally anything, because the nervous system work applies to anything, and so we're
Anything.
applying it right now in the group to business and money, but certainly relationships as well,
Yeah.
including the relationship with ourself and being able to go back and do the shadow work and the trauma work, right? You have to be able to feel the stuff. You
You
can't
have to.
skip steps, right?
There's no other way around it. You
Yeah.
have to feel it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't bypass it. And this is like one of the big things that I love in nervous system work is just the idea of pendulation of like we can push our limits, right, of what we can feel, and then we're able to sort of
Yeah.
take a breath, right? Or like take a break. And it's
Yeah.
okay, right? If people need to sort of do whatever they need to do to have that break, but just the willingness and the commitment to go back and go back and go back and go back
Yeah.
until,
That's what it is.
yes,
That's
until you're
literally
complete.
what it until you're complete. And you'll know when you're complete.
Yeah,
You'll have this exhale and you feel more solid and clear and whole and yeah, when you're complete. Well, or when that layer,
right.
that layer is complete. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And so we're going to get into full feminine expression in a moment, but I didn't want to skip this piece, which is really big, which is that, yeah, this conversation around maybe we don't need to constantly crash and burn all the time, right? And learn our lessons in these big tower moments. It's an important one to just drop here quickly because it actually relates to what you and I are talking about
Mhm.
learning how to be able to do this nervous system work to figure out I've been really diving deep into like the upper limit problem, but it's
Mhm.
not just like, can we expand our ability to go up to the heights of life? Yes, that's part of it, but also what you're sharing, intensity in general,
Mhm.
whatever sp end of the spectrum that's on,
Yeah.
to be able to build our tolerance to be with the intensity and then to be able to pendulate. And so this is kind of the secret, right? The secret ingredient of that we don't always need to hit rock bottom because if you're just with this expansion and contraction and
Mhm.
living in resonance with this
Mhm.
invitation, right?
Yeah.
This it's getting into just so much of the esoteric work, the law of ascent and descent and how it lives through our bodies. But as we are talking about it here, to be with the intensity and also to be able to take breaks so that we don't need to let it get like so crazy or chaotic. And then we also learn to do it consciously to work with the stuff coming at us rather than just blindly and disempowered, because that's when the universe starts to smack you and give you really hard lessons when you're not listening. That's so, anyway, my rock bottom moments in my life had to happen. So I'm not saying that like it doesn't have to happen that way for some
Yeah.
people, but then you can start to learn how to actually be awake and aware to the signs and the signals that are,
Yep.
oh, maybe you need to like look at that thing or that
Yeah.
wound or whatever and start to work with it, right? Because it
Yeah.
will find you if you try to run away.
It will always find you. And
Yeah,
that it'll always find you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I always say truth always wins. Like you can't escape from it.
Always. You
You can
can't.
put your head in the sand and we've all
Yeah.
done it before, but it
Yeah.
it always finds you. So we might as well just participate in the
Yeah.
process.
Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, I think it's so powerful if we move into the full feminine expression because why I'm so passionate about it is because clearly as a woman on this path, learning how to become multifaceted in my expression, coming from severe social anxiety,
Mhm.
shutdown, quietness, introversion, shyness, all that, it's been a huge soul lesson for me, right? And
Yeah.
so on the path of exploring this because we're full expression women who, and the 40s, by the way, for women are just the most incredible.
They are,
The
aren't they?
40s, and I'm excited for the 50s coming
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Because there's something really empowering about that we can also touch upon. But full feminine expression is something where, yes, we can start off at the level of like, as women, we've been conditioned a certain way. It
Hmm.
could be really cool to also explore the differences around our generation's messaging and
Hmm.
maybe like imagining the new generation of woman too, and like what her specific programming is around
Yeah.
that. Because I do think it's different, right? Like if you think
It,
about like when you and I grew
it
up,
is.
like
Yeah.
what was the messaging to women around
Oh,
voice and expression?
eh, be- w- uh, I grew up with, in my childhood home, it was first of all, it was like be seen but not heard, and it was very rigid. It was very, I watched my mom be very passive in her marriage. I watched my grandmother be very passive and kind of obedient in her partnership. And so, I think in our generation, just from a familial standpoint, we learn to just keep quiet and don't say too much and don't cause a scene and put on a smile even though, you know, you're feeling uncomfortable. And then you layer in the societal aspect, and we literally were a generation of women. Um, oh, and then you got to take in the feminist movement too, which swung, we could go all ways here, but
Right.
we literally are a generation of women who I think are just we're very confused. We were
Yeah.
very confused about who we were supposed to be, how we were supposed to be, what we were feeling, what was acceptable, what wasn't. Um, and we were very disconnected from our bodies as well. I think the best way to describe it is just we were very confused, very confused.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think our generation totally got that messaging. And even though, feminism was a thing, it's like, so I was a child of the 80s, right?
Hmm.
And teenager of the 90s. And I think we're similar in age. So it's like that's the messaging for women to be the way that you just said was
Yeah.
very much still present. And then also the family layer as well. Like I had my mother line, and even the women on the father side were all passive, soft, sweet, right? And so, like, I know that sometimes the topic of communication when I teach it is like not the most sexy topic, but so many people who come to me fall on the more passive side of expression, of the
Hmm.
voice, of
Hmm.
the people pleasing, of the we need to make everything all good for everybody else and comfy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know that you shared a little bit of your story, but like what to this day gets you so fired up about why you can never go back there to that place?
That place, going back to that place to me is just total and utter self-abandonment.
Yeah.
Self-abandonment in so many ways and so many layers. And again, right? A generation of women who have learned to abandon themselves, their feelings, their voice, everything. And like you said, right? More passive, more people pleasing, more, oh, let's just make sure everything is okay, right? The eggshell walking,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But that place, so passionate because there was so much self-abandonment there. So much. And didn't even realize it at the time because that's just typically how things work.
Right.
But self-abandonment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that literally to this day has been the hardest pill for me to swallow, right? There's so much grief in that. And so we have to go back. We have to scoop her up. We have to bring her
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can do like let's like with parts work and all of this, it's so great that we're talking about this. But what was like a part of you maybe that you abandoned and that you've reclaimed and integrated her back in?
A big part of myself that I abandoned was leaving myself for someone else to choose me.
Mm,
That was kind of my blueprint. Just completely leave myself, abandon the entire ship. Not just, the front or the back, but abandon the entire ship for someone to choose me. Just choose me, please. That was my, that was, that was the part of me, that kind of got lost at sea for quite a few decades. And, still sometimes, even now, I'm I'm so tender with her, you know, like I'm here. I'm here. The 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 whole sovereign woman, she's got it now. She's here. And I'm never leaving you again,
yep.
you know.
Yep. And it sounds so sometimes like simplistic to say this, but this is the journey back to loving ourselves wholly and completely.
100%.
Yeah. And so that that
100%.
is that is it, right? That is it. And self-love,
Hmm.
the way it's talked about is can be it's almost like so overused that we're just like, oh yeah, 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 whatever. We don't understand like the profundity of that. But it
Hmm.
is exactly what like we have to choose ourselves completely and then make that devotion. I will never abandon myself again, right? I will never. And like honestly, for me, I kind of needed the hard lesson because like
I
sometimes
did too.
if I don't get it the hard way, like I may be like, okay, cool, like
Hmm.
maybe, right?
Yeah, I
But
did too.
it sticks. It's almost like a trauma response because you're like, oh hell no, I'm not ever gonna abandon
Eh,
myself again.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think it's just so powerful for especially for women to hear this because yes, I'm not saying that we don't set boundaries or we don't hold people accountable, but ultimately the hard pill is that we're the ones who are abandoning ourselves. And it's
Absolutely.
to this
100%.
day, hard to say that out loud.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, right? Because we really have to, look at that past part of ourselves and look at what we went through because of it. But I always try and bring myself back. You know, those past versions of me, her, you know, I hold so much love and compassion because, and here's the thing, I always say this, Lan, given, you know, given the experiences we had in childhood, given this world in general that we've grown up in, how could we not? How could we not have had these imprints? How could we not have had these wounds? How could we not have had these abandonment issues? Of course, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
I love what you say because it's kind of like holding both of these things, right? We admit that we did it and we were the one who did it,
yeah,
and we have so much compassion and understanding for why,
yeah. You
right?
have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
have to.
it's holding both.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is so beautiful. So like for me, I want to move into just like the full spectrum of feminine expression. And maybe sometimes, like I remember you said something on the call the other day, which is that sometimes like men or even women might label like a strong feminine voice as you're in your masculine, right? Like what is this BS? And like, can you just share a little bit of that? I can't tell you how many times. And I'm just tired of it. I'm like, are you
Me
like people
too.
are you literally saying that women like shouldn't feel things deeply or like shouldn't be angry or like what exactly are you saying?
I know. I know. I know. And I honestly believe it comes down to the fact that full feminine expression is confrontational to a world that is built on suppression. It is confrontational. And when a woman is fully expressed in whatever is moving through her, whatever's moving through her in that moment, whatever's moving through her in that week, whatever season she is, whatever it may be, it, it, she is literally a living mirror for other people's repressed parts. This is what I believe.
So big. So big. Have you ever heard Lauren Cran talk about the woman as the oracle? Yeah. I mean, that's
Love his
okay.
work.
So it's just so beautiful that we're at this time where some men are waking up to, and women as well, the fact
Mhm.
that this can be a great gift, right?
Yeah,
And like, I'm just so tired of the pop polarity teachings where it's so clear that the women are being trained to cater to the man's ego and da, da,
yeah,
da. And then because I was in that world for a while, right? And the women who were getting shamed for being too in their masculine, it's because they were actually what you just said, they're testing the man's ego. So I often say, are you in devotion to your man at a soul level, or are you in devotion to him at the level of ego? Right. So I think what
that's the
we're
key.
talking about is the key here, because if men and women ourselves as the deliverer of
Hmm.
this can be
Hmm.
clear that this is a gift. And it's important to understand too that we don't like some women also don't quite fully get it either. And then maybe their expression is coming from like their ego. So, I mean, there's so much to get
Hmm.
into here.
There
Like, what do
is.
I actually own if I'm like a pure oracle for my man or whoever it is? Do you know what I mean?
I
But just
do.
the fact that we're having these conversations, I think is hopeful.
It is. It is. And I believe, and again, like the feminine has been so distorted. She's really been distorted. And it's even hard to kind of put the full spectrum into words as well. But I mean, when you really just kind of sit back and think about it, you think about how many emotions alone run through our nervous system, our bodies in just a single day, Leigh-Anne,
Yeah.
in one day. And most people they don't even realize it because we're so outside of ourselves, especially again, right? Everything, social media, the world, everything. It's just pulling us farther and farther and farther away from our bodies and our emotions. But if you think about how many emotions run through this system in just a 12-hour period, if we allowed ourselves to come back to the body, and again, not glamorous, not sexy at all. It is awareness and repetition. Awareness, repetition, and devotion. I mean, eventually it begins to become your natural way of being, just like anything else. But when a woman can allow and she can be so tuned in to what she's feeling in the moment, and she can just allow that to move through her in whatever way it wants to move through her, right? Maybe it's maybe it's a deep belly breath, maybe it's a shake, maybe it's a scream, right? Maybe it's pounding the fuck out of some pillows, like whatever it may be. When you that truly that's the true nature of the feminine. She is always emoting. She is always moving. She is opening. She is contracting. She's just this beautiful range of multidimensionality and expression and spectrum. And I often say, like, if you could imagine a woman, in a park, in a busy park, and she was just really in her body, in her emoting, and something moved through her, and all of a sudden she just got up and she started shaking, and maybe some tears, started coming down, and maybe she decided to let out a howl. Well, people would look at her like she's fucking crazy, right? They would. But the reality is that is that's the feminine. That's the feminine in a moment, right?
Yep.
It
Oh, it's so
is.
beautiful. And you know what you're sharing right now is making me remember one of the themes in the relationship that we were together almost 20 years. I talk about a lot. We're no longer together, but one of the themes in my former marriage, yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot recently, so I'm like in it right now, is he would always tell me that I was too emotional, too intuitive, right? And if I didn't present something in my expression to him as a logical, bullet pointed argument, right, with evidence to back it up, it wasn't valid. And so I tried for so many years to do that for him. And what I realize now, because I didn't have the words back then, is that that's a very anti-feminine container. And I participated in it,
Yeah.
and to a point, and then I would explode and get angry and stuff like
Yeah.
that because I wasn't being held. But yeah, I really do think it's such a classic male-female thing too. It really is. But as we move towards integration, I mean, I believe, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, that we all have, like men have a heart. They just need
Oh
to learn how
yeah,
to open it. They need to learn how to work with it, right?
they
And
do.
women have brains. Like
Yeah.
we all have both. It's just about like women also have, we have this beautiful opportunity to deeply come back to our female bodies, our emotions, there is a truth to the fact that women do tend to have more access to our
Hmm.
emotional realms, our
Hmm.
intuitive realms. So if we're not exploring that full capacity, if we're not in right relationship with that, how can we expect our men to be or the external world to be?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's so true. And and I say too, like in my work and kind of what I put out there, when we talk about and you have to be careful when you say this because there's a lot of black and white thinking out there, and that's why I love nuance. But the only reason the feminine really right now in this time that we're in, the only reason the feminine is rising, leading, whatever you want to say, is just simply because she's just more in tune with her emotions and her internal world than the men are. And it simply has to do, I mean, I'm not an expert on, masculine divinity or anything like that, but it's simply to do with just women. We're different. We're different. We're more in tune with our emotions. And so the emotional body and the body is where the expansion happens. It's where the awareness happens. It's kind of where everything happens. And so I see this all the time online. And, women are, where are all the good men? And there's no good men. And this man, and this, it's like this is just shitting on men everywhere.
Yep.
And I'm thinking like this is not no, this is not the way because here's the thing. What I believe is that right now there's and I guess I shouldn't generalize. You probably know better than I do because this is the work that you do. But everything I read online, it's like people are done. They're done with dating. They're done with relationships. They think
Yep.
everybody's fucked.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, wait a second here. You got, as a woman, you have to come back. You have to come back to your body. You have to find where you abandon yourself. You have to see where you have no boundaries because here's the thing. If you if you keep putting if you keep letting men or whatever run all over you or take advantage of you or goes, you're perpetuating the very thing that you say you don't want. And so if we're going to make any headway in this place that we're in right now between men and women, and just based on the fact that women at this point are just more in tune, doesn't make them better, but they're just more in tune with their emotions and their bodies. Well, okay, you want this shift to happen. You want divine love. You want this conscious love. You have to start walking like the woman who embodies it.
Oh, so many truth bombs right there. I mean, that's the story of my life and what I had to learn, which is like, oh my God, I enabled the situation because I had no boundaries,
I
right?
didn't even know what boundaries
I didn't
were.
even know what they were. I didn't even know. Obviously, that's one of the main things that I'm here to learn is about boundaries. But I
Yeah,
mean, this is where it actually gets to be not just us stepping out of victim mentality, which is super charged topic, but I'm also glad that we're talking about that quite a bit. And like back then when I used to bring that up, people were just like, whoa, whoa, right? You can't talk about it, but now people are actually open to it because they're starting to understand the nuance in it. But it's
yeah,
the most empowering thing ever where it's not that we don't have compassion for ourselves, as we spoke
no,
about earlier, but what's here for me to learn? Oh my gosh, I didn't know about boundaries. I didn't really love myself. I was self-abandoning. My communication, I didn't ask for what I needed, right? I don't know how to say the word no. All of these
hmm,
things, these
hmm,
are just the invitations for us to be able to, and in a way, right, this is us developing a spine and our inner
yes,
masculine to be able to hold our full feminine expression
yeah,
and to protect her when need be. Because we don't live in a world where it is safe to just be like totally open-hearted and flowing, right? We need to be able to hold ourselves as
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
But anyway, what you said is really big because it's not for people to get triggered when they hear us talk about this. It's just simply about this is your invitation. And it's the biggest thing that you can do for yourself and your
It
relationship.
is.
Yeah.
It is, and even like just from my own lived experience, I mean, I now I live from the perspective of, okay, I look at what's happening in women and men and relationship. And again, I think, how could this not be? How could we not be here? I would be surprised if we weren't here because again, you look at our childhoods, right? You look at our generation and God love them. They weren't conscious. They didn't know. But it's like, how could we not be in this position right now, Leigh-Anne?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. And this is where also to be able to actually go back and do the work, as you said, to be able to have forgiveness, compassion of like, yep,
Yeah.
it makes sense, right? How could it be any other way? It really helps to be able to just like just take a breath and just be like, and also to trust like the bigger thing that's tr trying to sort of move us in the right direction and what are
Yeah.
we here to learn and all this. It's really true on some level,
Yeah.
so like I think because I had such the same family stuff with the women and all of that, it's like I guess it's also where it makes sense that we're in this thing with men being triggered by women all of a sudden finding their voices. If we didn't have voices for so long and now we're trying to find them,
Yeah.
they're going to have to adjust,
Yeah.
right? And it is, to be honest with, I love men, I really do, and
I did
I'm
too.
so grateful I have a son that happened for a reason. But
Hmm.
like, we have to also, men are having their process with adjustment. Some of them have had the polarized thing of like they just cower, and they're just like giving all their power away to women. They don't want to get in
Hmm.
trouble, all this
Hmm.
stuff. So that's obviously we don't want that either, but it's just about women, just like we need to also be patient with men. It takes some time. I also fell into the trap. I don't know if you had this experience too, where when I was reclaiming my voice, maybe the pendulum went a little bit over here. I was just like,
Oh
fuck
yeah.
this shit, right? I'm done. And it kind of like whatever we suppress comes out as a beast
Yeah.
sometimes, right? And that also just happened recently with me too. But like, I don't know if you want to share anything about just like also as women, it is a journey, it's a process too.
It is a journey. And that's the thing. And I did have that moment too. And 2020 was my moment, right? When 2020 hit, I turned into this like I said, like I was fucking shit up, man. Like I was like that was 2021, 22, 23. Those were my years where this it just unlocked. And it is a process. And there's no we have to allow ourselves to go through it, right? We're all walking these unique individual paths. We all have our unique individual blueprints and patterns and everything. And as far as I'm concerned, the world that we live in now is it's ripe. It is just ripe for opportunity to just keep pushing and unlocking and whatever it may be doing so that we can finally like just begin to free ourselves, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah, my voice opened 2020 was the ignition point for my voice. And then, after I was like, okay, whew. Like just for my own internal well-being, it's like, Rayna, you can't keep going off like a cannon like this all the time. Like your internal world is like, woo. So it's like, okay, it's time to just kind of anchor it. And, and I still speak, I still say what I need to say. I speak what I want to speak, but it almost comes from just a more, I don't know, mature way, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge. I love that too because as like just for women out there, right? It is going to be a journey. It's going to be a process. Let yourself have the process. Let yourself
Yeah.
stumble and fall. It's going to
Yeah.
be messy. It's been messy AF for me to
Oh,
this day, and it's okay. Like I think, especially if we're truly here as souls in this lifetime to learn this stuff, then it's like the whole thing with the baby horse is like all awkward when it's born and like we just
yeah.
have to try. We have to try. And this is part of us exploring our full feminine expression. One of
It
the things I
is.
just want to share, I don't know if you can resonate to this at all, but has been really helpful for me is just learning about the different feminine archetypes, whether
Yeah.
it's just simply, maiden to mother to crone or, something like Kali, who's a very powerful archetype. But it's
Yeah.
just like whatever system you want to go into, or astrology is another good one. Like there's
Yeah.
six feminine signs, six masculine. So you can see even just in those systems that came to mind, there's a range of a lot of the feminine isn't just one thing. It's not just soft and sweet and small, and we just have to be passive, and that's not it. Right. And so if we are moving towards, if all of us as humans are moving towards a higher level of consciousness, of course that's going to mean expansiveness,
Hmm.
right? Out of this tiny prison
Yep.
that we're being put in. So that's what I
Absolutely.
feel when I feel into like our mothers, and grandmothers and all of this stuff. It was so tight
Oh, it was
and
so tight,
constrictive,
Leigh-Anne.
right?
It was so tight. Like I think back, I don't even think like my grandmother or my mother even knew, what emotions actually were. Do you know what I mean? Like from a deeper layered perspective, I really don't think that they did.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Oh,
I
no.
really don't think that they did, and doing and we get
Oh, we're back. We're back now.
okay.
Okay.
And I was just gonna say, everything that's coming out into the world, and people, if you feel rage, let that fucking rage move through you.
Yep.
Let it, don't judge, don't judge yourself. Let it move through you. That's how we're built. That's how our bodies are built. We're built to move emotions through us. Not hold on to them, not suppress them, not disconnect from them, not disassociate from them, not judge them.
Yep.
Move.
Move it. Yep. Emotion, right? Yeah. Emotion, energy and motion. It's a little cheesy, but it's really, really true. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, I mean, with everything going on right now, and it reminds me, this is just like, remember the Me Too movement and all of it. It's just
yeah,
like, here's the thing, people, whether it's men or women, talking smack about it, like, come on, like okay, so you don't want anyone to say anything about it. Like, is that what you're saying to me? Right. And I'm not saying that some of these movements aren't
yeah,
intentionally hijacked and,
yeah.
fuel to the fire and stuff like that. But it's very clear that we need to be having these conversations. And so, like,
Yes, we
here's
do.
just to take it back to what we were saying before about men's egos and, all of the things.
Yeah,
There's just a reality. I always say that men and women have stuff on both sides to,
hmm,
to own, and women certainly in our own ways. I've heard atrocious stories from men about, mothers and abuse and stuff like that. So it's on both sides. But if
yeah,
we just zoom out for a second, the reality is that men, there has been a lot of very harmful, violent,
yeah,
abusive, damaging behavior.
yeah,
And here we are, right? I mean,
yeah,
all of the stuff that's coming out. And so women's voices coming from, even our pain and our suffering and living through this have to have a voice at the table,
yeah.
and men have to be able to really be in this moment of being able to own and take personal responsibility. I'm not saying all men are bad or whatever it is,
No,
but certainly to be able to look at their side of the street, right? It has to come, it comes down to, are you willing, right, to have your ego step down to
yep,
be able to become a better person, right? To take
yes,
personal responsibility.
yeah,
And also, like, let's just say you're a man who didn't directly participate or whatever it is. So many men, I hear them, their friends are running their mouths, right? And they say nothing. So, I mean, there's so much here that we can get into, but
There
there's many different
is.
ways that, I feel like the positive thing here is that we are at a point where we can finally start to move into evolved relationships, even if that just means let's just treat each other better
Yeah.
at bare minimum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you know what? And the reality too is that what we call how we see relationships, most, I don't want to say most, but a lot of relationships are just based on fear and attachment and control and unresolved trauma. And that is a big bulk of relationships. That's not pure love, you know?
Yep.
And it's heartbreaking. I think we're on this planet, we're in this realm, right? And we have the liberty of experiencing it all. Every single like we get to experience everything on this planet. And yet here we are, we're saddled with these attachment wounds and this and this trauma, and we're disconnected from our body, and we're missing the entire fucking human experience of what is available to us on this planet.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
It
It's so, I mean,
is.
what you just said is so powerful because, and there's so much here. So, like, this is why we do our work to unpack our trauma and to heal it. And this is also why we step out of the larger game that's programming us and trying to keep
Yeah.
us traumatized all the time.
Yes.
Right. So, like, that's people have to be aware of that as well because what you're saying is so true. They're doing that for a reason to keep
Yeah.
us really right down here to not experience the vastness of what's available.
Yeah.
It really gets into the upper limit problem. And why are we really here? Why are
Hmm.
we to experience a life beyond our wildest dreams, which I say a
You
lot, but it's
betcha.
so true. Whether it's relationships, right? Money, all of the things to be able to just be here and experience just the majesty of life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I want this to really land for people because it's not that we bypass. We don't you and I are not bypassers. We don't
No.
bypass. But there's also this other side to it. And so I think, when it comes to relationships, yeah, for people to wake up to the spell that like the way most of us are running relationships, it's not it. It's really not it. And that's okay. It's just an invitation for us to use relationships, right? In the way I obsessively talk about to be able to do our work and then to unlock the next level,
Yep.
which is there, right?
Yep.
Um, I just wanted to get back to so full feminine expression is really like it's the full spectrum, right? It's the full spectrum. What would
Hmm.
you say to men or women who might call a woman who maybe is a little bit angry or pissed off about something?
Yeah.
And there's a huge range to what that is. But
Yeah.
like what about like with all of the people shaming other people saying, "Oh, you're too and you're masculine." Like what do you say about that?
I'm going to say two things about it. First thing I'm going to say is that, again, given the world we've grown up in, given the experiences that we've had in the past, relationally, in our childhood and otherwise, how can women not have a more pronounced masculine? That's the first thing I'm going to say. That's the
Yeah.
first thing I'm going to say. Okay, so then that was me. I used to have a very protective, pronounced masculine side because I had to create it to protect myself. That's the only reason. So I hold so much gratitude for that 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 masculine part of me that was more pronounced than it should have ever had to be because it held me, it protected me. The second thing that I'm going to say about women and men who are like, you are too much in your masculine. And it's like when people see a woman who is angry, which a lot of them are right now, or full of conviction or full of fire, again, they simply can't receive it as a woman being in her fullest expression in the moment because it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable.
Sure does.
Bottom line, it makes them uncomfortable. And again, right? The feminine has been very distorted. She has been kind of delivered as this soft, demure, you know, pink-hued, passive creature. Again, that is one beautiful aspect to her, you know? But
Right.
again, she also has to have the right conditions to be able to lean back into that as well, right?
It's so good. And also what you just described that reminds me of just the maiden sort of aspect of the woman, right? And she's like a little girl who's like waiting for daddy to save her and all this stuff, right? I see a lot of women who are stuck there. And
Yeah.
yes, I had that part of me too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying this to whatever, but it's like, wow, I really want women to understand there's so much more. There's so much
Oh,
more than that, you
there's
know?
so much more than that. So much more. And like even for me, I mean, I'm at a point in my life right now where um I've never been so whole, Leigh-Anne, in my being than I am now. And I couldn't even conceptualize how just good and whole and anchored in all of me that I am now. And it's like I'm now just kind of I'm not externally seeking anything in my life. Nothing. It's like I'm just open, I'm doing, I'm good, I'm going. And it's such a beautiful place to be.
God, it's so good. It's so good what you're saying because yes, if we don't do this work, we outsource it, and
Yeah.
then that's the definition of codependency. So
Yeah.
we've all done it. We've all done it, right? And oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so yeah, and also I just want listeners to also broaden, like it's not just that we're saying that there's these two modes, you're either sort of passive or you're just like fiery and angry. We're talking the full expression of all of the emotions. And when I tune into, even just anger itself,
Hmm.
like, yeah, I mean, anger and emotions in general actually are feminine. We don't need to, for the
Yeah.
listeners, we don't need to get stuck on semantics or masculine, feminine, but like, man, if you really understand the Kali archetype, like she's just, yeah, the
Yes.
medicine there is profound. And this is where we also get into sometimes the hardest pills, right? Or something utterly needing to be destroyed is the greatest act of love, where
It
where
is.
truth and love become one and the same.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. So this is like where the sometimes when we need to speak truth, and
Hmm.
if it comes across as strong, if people can open to the possibility that, yeah, it's not always going to be comfortable. When we
No.
get feedback from people, right, and hard truths, some people need hard truths,
Some people need hard truths. And you know what? Generally, truth cuts like a blade. It just does.
right? It's so true. It's so true. Oh shoot, I think you froze again. Praying to the internet got, okay, here we
Truth
go.
is low at times.
Sorry, I
We're
don't know
back.
why it keeps cutting.
That's okay.
Yes, you're right. Sometimes truth does cut like a blade. And so I think this is another thing too that let me do a quick time. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll go just a little bit longer, but this is where I do think to get back to this idea that we don't always need to hit rock bottom, or we don't always need to have the moments, is if we can actually just be open to truth, or
Hmm.
like the life every single day is giving us
Every day.
everything that we need. So if we can be open and receptive to working with all of it,
Yeah.
then sometimes we don't need the hard pills. So I just wanted to drop that here. And simultaneously, sometimes it's necessary. I would say in the collective stuff that's going on right now, if I zoom out, there needs to be hard truths right now
Hmm.
delivered. And so this is like where I get
Oh
into
yeah.
the question that I wanted to ask you, that I shared. Let me see if I can find it here. Obviously, everything that you and I are talking about, right? There is a need for women rising now, and how we need women in their full power, speaking truth, sharing unapologetically. But is there anything else that you want to just add, speaking directly to women right now, of like why now more than ever? And it doesn't have to just be relationally, it could just be the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because from what I see and what I feel, um, we are now in a time where, actually, I'll start with this and then I'll move into that. I believe pre-2020, we had the luxury just to kind of dabble, right? Dabble in things, dabble in expansion, dabble in growth, what have you. We are now in a time where we don't have the luxury. Times have old way of old way of being, old way of living gone. We are now in this age of transition. And it's interesting. A lot of people, just from what I've observed, they kind of think we're just in a bumpy few years.
Right.
And it's like, no, 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 no. We're in an age. We are now in an age of transition. And every human being, every woman, every man is individually responsible for how this shift moves. And so, if you are a woman and you are awake and you are conscious, it is, I believe, your sole duty. It's why you're here. It is your sole duty to get yourself integrated, get yourself anchored, get your voice unlocked, and put your truth, your medicine, your whatever it may be out into this collective. And we are in such, the times that we're now in are very fast moving times, very fast moving times. And so, like you were saying, people, we're in a pressure cooker too. I think I'm going off topic here. Anyways, we'll get back to it. But we're in an energetic pressure cooker. And so you you want to release, you want to kind of release control, you want to be open yourself up, and you want to allow yourself to just continue to expand and evolve as so that you can ride the waves of this transition instead of getting pulled into the undertow. Because there's going to be a lot of people getting pulled into the undertow, and that's just a fact. And it's not, it's something to do with fear. It's just reality. There's a lot going on right now. And this is a spiritual war.
Yeah.
And right? It all begins in here. Each and every one of us is responsible
Yeah.
for how we're going to shift.
It's so huge. I mean, I often
Oh,
say, like, we're beyond the final hour at this point. So,
oh,
like,
way
why
beyond.
this is also why I love what you have been sharing about. We cannot always be healing, 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 healing.
No, like that time, we're done. There
Yeah,
is no time left to think that you're fucking broken and that you need to just continually be like obsessed with healing. No, 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 no. You
yeah,
need to get back into, you need to have awareness. Okay, awareness about yourself, awareness about your patterns, no judgment either. Like let's pull everything off here. Just gain awareness, right? Let that ego just rest a little bit. I know it's hard. I used to have it too. We all did at some point. But become aware. Okay, right? Really come back into your body. Pay attention. What's coming up? Are you riddled with anxiety all the time? Are you in fear? Are you worried? Okay, that's not normal. I don't live like that,
Yeah.
right? That's not normal. So, okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna practice just coming back to my body. I'm gonna practice, you know, breathing into it, being anchored into it, moving my emotions through it because, and I say this sometimes and I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's like you have a very important role. The role is so big that sometimes the human mind goes, oh no, my God, this can't be real. But yes, it is. It actually is.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're beyond. We're beyond the point where, yeah. And now is not the time to kind of get caught up in this theatrical spirituality and floating in the ethers and like, come on, man. Like, we need to come back down to earth where it's all happening. We need to ground in our bodies. We need to become these whole powerful beings, these integrated beings. And that doesn't mean endless healing. Like you said, life in general, every single day, moment to moment, is presenting us
Yeah.
opportunities to come back to ourselves and go, oh, wait a minute here. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it because this is part of the trap too that people need to understand is when you're stuck in the constant healing, then that is why the powers that be want to keep everyone traumatized because that's a
Yeah,
great way to keep people just like, oh my God, I just am so, and I'm not saying that we bypass our trauma. We don't do that. But if you can have foundational tools like Raina was
yeah,
just saying to work with, right? Nervous system work's huge. Shadow work is
huge.
huge. Many people do need to work with a professional to help them
Yeah,
through with this time. You and I both work it from an empowerment perspective. We don't keep people dependent, but you do at this time, a good mentor or guide is critical,
yeah.
right? To be able to do this work while also simultaneously, yeah, knowing that you have to step out and you have to actually do the thing, whether
You
that's
got to do the
using your
thing.
voice or whatever it is that you're meant to do, we can't. And that I also have been seeing this other thing too, which I'm just going to name, and I know people aren't going to like to hear this. It's coming from great love, and I was doing it too. But when you're always in healing, you can become self-absorbed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know it's a hard one for people because the people that come to this work are typically really good-hearted people who are
Hmm.
truly trying their best. And so I'm not at all saying that, but it can be too much of a focus
Yeah.
of just here. Yeah.
It can. And it's a distraction too, right? It can become a distraction from the actual integrative work of becoming whole, right? Over here in the course over here, and I'm going to heal this, and I'm going to farm this part out here. And it's like, and again, what a message of absolute disempowerment that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, I don't think we're ever, I don't even know. Do we ever get fully healed on this planet? Probably not. I don't know. I can't see it. I think that's a fantasy. I'm not a fully healed person. I've walked a crazy path in this lifetime, but honestly, like I'm more focused on my inner peace, my inner stability, my external stability, um, and fulfilling the position that I chose even before I came down here to walk now, because it's it's needed. It's needed. And so there's that identity piece in there too, right? Like if you believe that if you have this identity that you're somehow broken and that you need to continuously heal yourself, again, it's very disempowering.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's what they want,
Absolutely. Yep. And that's the thing about like, wow, what would happen if we recognized our true power?
right? That's what they don't want us to recognize. That's what they don't want us to remember,
Yep.
you
Playing
know?
small. Isn't it crazy to think about even if people just like open to this 5%, right? Like
Just five,
what would happen?
just five.
Like
Yeah.
it would create such a huge shift
It
in the
would.
world.
Yeah,
And so actually love this because this is like permission for people, just the next best step forward, just the next
that's
best
right.
step, whatever it is for you, right? If
Hmm.
people are listening and getting overwhelmed and all this stuff, we're not saying that you don't have to heal ever. We're not saying, but
No.
just the next best step forward,
Hmm.
right? Can be enough. And then also just being really honest with ourselves about where we are holding back and where we are maybe not doing the thing and you
Yeah,
know, to be able
yeah,
to know that, yeah, it really is kind of now or never. And sometimes I guess we do need the pressure, right? The squeeze to be able to
yeah,
pop.
yeah. We do. We do. We do. And and awareness really is everything, Leanne. Awareness, I say awareness is the first step. Once you're aware of your patterns or, you know, awareness without judgment is a beautiful thing. Because when you really kind of accept the fact that you are 100% responsible for you, right? And you kind of really anchor in that sovereign identity. If you have awareness around something, it is now your responsibility to integrate it, move through it, whatever it is, but with love and compassion, with love and compassion.
Yep.
It's the only way to do it, right? Because
Yeah,
I think
it's
a
really
lot of people, yeah, a lot of people they kind of lean away from this work because there's such a stigma attached, right? There's shame and guilt and judgment. And and I always say too, those are just words. Imagine, imagine if those words still existed, but there was no definition. They were just words, right? And there was no definition. They didn't mean anything. And you could just understand feelings that were coming up as just energy. And you didn't attach that label to them. Well, how much easier would it be to just breathe a sigh of relief and go, oh, you know, oh, okay, I
Mhm.
see you. And now I'm just, all right, we're good. And you just allow it to move through you or hold it or whatever it may be. And so a big part of this work too, is just allowing yourself to let go of that. Usually there's a lot of shame and judgment and criticism that comes along with it, but it doesn't have to. I don't believe that it does.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're right. I mean, all emotions are here. I believe all emotions are here as a form of intelligence for a reason.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to work with them and learn how to alchemize, as you so beautifully shared before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, there's so much, there's lots of excitement. I know it feels like we're living in a complete shit show right now. I get it. I mean, on some level that is true, but there's so
Hmm.
much excitement and possibility and expansion also happening. And so I just wanted to kind of leave people with, this work isn't easy. We certainly are living examples of that, but it's worth every moment and like the fruits of my labor that I've experienced it's you don't have words to describe like what
You
is
don't.
possible. You just don't.
No.
And I want to hear sort of like in a moment, I want to hear your like sort of last words to men or women or probably especially women, but like I just want women to know that sometimes when we do step into our full voice, our authentic expression, not everyone's going to like it. We know this, right?
No.
And
Yeah.
so to just be prepared to know that you're going to ruffle some feathers. I mean, everyone has to make decisions based on relationships, close relationships in their life, maybe how they
Hmm.
want to show up and express and understanding the consequences maybe of that.
Hmm.
But not everyone's going to like it, and we have to sort of test the waters anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's we're not saying that there aren't like because obviously so many people don't express fully because there could be real consequences, and especially
Yep.
situations maybe where you are in an abusive relationship, right?
Yep.
Everyone listening has to discern,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that we don't figure out how to walk this path anyway. This
Yeah.
is obviously a huge topic, but
Hmm.
that's I just want women to know that we're not in la la land of like not thinking that people aren't going to be bothered by it.
No, no, I
But
mean,
then
they will.
yeah, but then we have to learn how to actually be resilient and be okay with that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. And, and the best kind of piece of advice, and again, just from lived experience, but the best piece of advice I can give is that even when it feels confronting, even when it feels uncomfortable to say something that you want to say or you need to say in whatever setting it may be in, when you allow yourself to say it, you build about you build some confidence. And then you do it again, and then you build just a little bit more confidence. And then you do it again, and then you may receive judgment back or criticism back, whatever it may be. But if you continue to do it, and it just, baby steps. You don't have to, take out the foghorn, but just baby steps. And you eventually you just build the confidence and the courage. And before you know it, you've anchored in this whole other identity from, the woman who was afraid or uncomfortable to speak and say her truth or whatever it is to the woman who speaks her fucking truth and says what she needs to say, regardless of what anyone else thinks, right? It just becomes a new identity. That's it.
Yeah. It's so big what you're saying because it does. It's brick by brick, day after day. It's building
Yeah.
the muscle at the
Yeah.
gym. And that it's a messy, chaotic process. It has been for me.
Hmm.
And, it's sometimes you feel like you're taking one step back and it's just going to be this way. So I just
Hmm.
want to say to people, and it's worth every step of the way. So we'll start to wrap up, and I want people to really connect. I know a lot of people already are connected, but also sharing about groups. I know that you're doing another round.
Yep.
But just to kind of wrap all of this up, I also just want, especially women, but also men, to start to think about like what do you really need to say right now? What do you really need to say?
Hmm.
There's things on all of our hearts where we know that we need to have maybe that conversation, or whether it's to the collective or in your relationships. And so I just want people to sort of just sit with that, to be with that, and to see what might the next best step forward be towards that. And also to know this is the work that we do with people, to be able to build the capacity. And so we are support people here for you in whatever way, shape. We give a lot for free. And we also are here to work individually with people. So, yeah, so take it from here. How can people work with you? All of the things.
Like you said, I'm running round two of her first 100K year towards the end of March. Again, just literally supporting women in their business, on their mission, body, capacity, voice, identity, as well as the structures in there. I also have a monthly membership, the House of Her. Support, again, embodiment, voice, right? Business. Those are the two main things that I have running right now. I do one-on-one work as well. Um, but the main thing is just to allow yourself, like you said, Leigh-Anne, in whatever setting you're in, collectively, relationally, wherever it may be, allow yourself just to take that courageous first step. Just the first one. Just the first one, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's so true. And this is how we build momentum. And that is how it works for so many of us. It's just
Yep.
like, it's a very simple recipe, but it's fail
Hmm.
proof. It's
Yeah, it
fail
is
proof.
fail proof. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
truly.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, it was just so, so good to have you on, to say the least. We could talk forever. And I just wanted to take a moment to share with everybody that your work has been so transformative for me, and to be able to have you as a woman, as a mentor in my life. to be able to reflect back things that, I have done the work for a long time.
Mhm.
I know a lot of my blind spots, but it's so powerful to be able to have you just reflect back the things that you have to me. And in such a short time, you've literally, like, there's just the keys unlocking doors that I needed to be unlocked. And I'm just so grateful for you.
Ah, thank
And so I
you.
just can't recommend you highly enough. And I know that your Instagram stuff is powerful and all the stuff that, and your podcast and all of the free content is powerful, but I really highly encourage people to go deeper with you to be able to experience your medicine. And so I just wanted to share that.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Any
That
any last words to wrap up? Just like any tying of loose ends or anything to close.
no, again, I just we are in an incredibly important time on this planet. And I just want to remind every person listening, we are so much more powerful than they have led us to believe. There is absolutely nothing outside of ourself that we need, in order to really walk this earth through this transition and really get it done this time. You know, it all begins with us. Every single one of us. We are, we're incredibly powerful, brilliant humans. We're here at this time for a reason. We've been carrying a lot of stuff. How could we not on this planet? It's crazy. But give yourself the permission just to come back to yourself. Give yourself the permission to begin to just let things go so that you can really begin to open up, not only to help shift this consciousness, but to give yourself the opportunity, regardless of what is happening in the external, to experience this world as deep and as beautifully as you can, because there's still so much incredible stuff to experience on this planet. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you so much. It's powerful final words. And it just reminds me of this idea. Yeah, it's not outside of us. It's not for them to fix the problems. It's like we are actually co-creating the new reality now.
we are.
We're doing it, right? It's not
We're
for
doing
waiting
it.
for them to how do they fix it? No, 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 no. It's us.
Yeah,
It's us.
there's nobody
Yeah.
fixing anything except us. Nobody.
Nobody's coming to save us.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard truth for people and it's like this is clearly where we're being headed. So I'm just so grateful that you are here, in this world doing such powerful work. You are such a leader and I'm so grateful for you. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Leigh-Anne.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thank
And
you for the work that you do. Like, I've been following you for a long time now. And I mean, your work in relationship and love, and it is so, so needed in this world, you
mhm.
know?
Thank you, Raina, so much. Yes.
Thank
And I
you.
will I will see you and talk to you very soon. So thank you
You bet.
again.